I share all my crafty adventures. This is my regular podcast episode. This will be the January makings. I will share the finished objects, the work in progresses, and some plans for the next months. I am in Belgium and I'm recording it on February 3rd, but we will check all the January stuff, okay? From now on, I will post one regular episode a month, so sort of the monthly makings. I was inspired by Ali of the Little Drops of Wonderful, who also does this style of podcast, like once a month, all the monthly makings. And meanwhile, in between podcast episodes, I will share different types of videos, just how I did in January, maybe making vlogs or plans or patterns which I want to make in the future. So let's get started. We will start with finished objects. I have 5 finished objects from January, and the first one is a pair of socks, which I originally made for myself but turned out to be too big because my gauge changed. But I absolutely love this fabric. I love the colors, and I'm quite sad that it doesn't fit me, but this will be one of the gifts for one of my best friends in the package which I'm sending her. Hi Nadim. This pair of socks I started on December 30th, so this was sort of my New Year's Eve cast on, and I finished them in 4 days, which was crazy for me. January the 3rd. We watched a lot of series, we played many board games during the holiday season, so I had plenty of time of knitting, and it was so good to just go round. I made these on 9-inch circulars. I always use the pattern from the Crazy Sock Lady. I actually bought all her basic patterns because that's how I learned to make socks. I will link her channel down below. She has videos. That's how I originally learned, but you can also buy the pattern, so you don't have to, go back to the video and check all the time the numbers you need. So yeah, now I use the PDF version. This was a very fast knit. It's a lovely texture. I will link the project page down below so you can check out the yarn. I bought this yarn in 2023 October in Hungary, but only knit it up right now. Of course, the leftovers are going for my sock memory blanket, which I showed in the previous podcast episodes. The second finished object is actually a very long ongoing or a very old WIP. So you might have seen my other video where I went through my whole stash and all my project bags and I organized them, and then later I filmed another video where I showed you all my ongoing projects, so everything which is not finished. And I really want to focus at least the first half of the year on clearing my needles, clearing my hooks, cleaning out project bags, so finishing all the projects which are not done yet. And this was one of them. So I had 2 big granny squares in this lovely melange or like color changing yarn. It's very soft, but it's a cotton, either pure cotton or cotton acrylic mix. I lost the ball band, so we will never know, but I know that I bought it in Germany in Reutlingen when I was there many years ago during my university years. I did my internship there in Germany. So that's when I bought the yarn, and that's when I made the granny squares. And the poor granny squares were in my stash for many years. And then I finally decided what I want to do with them. So I wanted a shirt or a sleepover, and I decided to knit 2 shoulder panels basically and 2 side panels, and then just join them together. And since I used up all the yarn which I had for this which I had with the granny squares, I needed to figure something out for the shoulder squares. And I was thinking to use just a pink yarn, like one color, but then I found one sock yarn, Filcolana Arvetta, and another cotton yarn, which was Sahinmaier Catania. And when I hold them together, they give the same marbled effect with the similar colors like the main one. So I decided to do that. So it was a very fast crochet. I did it in 2 days, the 4 panels and the joining. I was debating whether or not I want to have like sleeves with this, but I decided not to. This will be really good for me to just throw on like gym clothes in the summer or like spring, because it's always cold here in Belgium, so I will not feel too hot, but I need something to cover my main body. Everything is full of dog hair. I think the dog was in the couch before. He usually is not, but yeah, maybe he slept here once. So anyway, so this was a very fast finish when I finally made up my mind and decided to do it. And I finished this on January 19th. I know I worked on it 2 days now, but this is actually more than 10 years old, I think. Yes, it's on the project page, I think, or in the previous video which I uploaded, so you can check it out. The third finished object was a test knit for Nevena, dear Nevena, on Instagram. I will link her page as well as the project page. She released La Fleur de Marie beret, and I applied for test knitting because I love berets, I love hats, I love like headwear, and I really didn't want to, you know, commit to a test knit, especially at the end of the year. But I saw this, and she really needed some extra testers for certain sizes, or like not sizes, but like for the, how do you say that? And she really needed some testers, so I decided to apply. Why not? Because I had some leftover yarn from my beautiful Silta shawl. The gray is Vovo from Red Rosaria Rosa Pomar, which is one of my favorite, absolute favorite yarns. And the blue is the leftover from my yarn from Hamburg. I forgot the name of the yarn. It is on the project page, so you can check it out. So I was like, okay, this will be a really good addition to my Silta shawl, and I will put up a picture. You can see that it fits perfectly. So I applied, I test knitted, and this was a very fast, a very cute knit. There was some changes in the pattern meanwhile, so I could have done it faster, but we were going back and forth, so it took a little bit longer. So this is how it looks. She has 2 sizes available. I made the smaller size, and it's very like loose for my hat, but I actually love it. If I would want it to be tighter, I would just crochet inside some elastic, but it's not necessary. So yeah, this was the Fleur de Marie beret, and I love it, and I wear it, and I always get like complimented for my set, you know, the shawl and the beret together. I started this December 17 and finished it January 14. And the last item, no, before last item, oh yeah, so almost forgot. As I was in a finishing mood, I also dug out many old projects from years when I was still in Hungary, and I finished a pair of slippers. It's really weird how to show this, but basically it's a crochet slipper. I just got this felted base, and I crocheted the top, and I crocheted the side. It's not identical because this is more than 10 years old project. So this was the one which was done, and this was the one I finished. And now I know much better, now I know much more about sizing and stuff. So this one is actually more fitting. So yeah, this was another finish. I don't know the exact date when I started, but I know it's like 10 years old or even longer. And I also finished it on January 14th, because after the beret I was like, okay, what else can I finish? What else can I finish? So that's when it was done. I put it on the floor. Also full of dog hair. And really the last finished item from January is my second Ginkgo biloba top. I already wore it, so it's a little bit wrinkly, need to wash it. This, I don't know how much it shows. This is a pattern by Marie, by Greener Makes on Instagram. I was test knitting this pattern originally, so I did not pay for the pattern. And I love my original piece so much that I wanted to make another one. And I had this yarn in my stash. This is a bamboo cotton mix. I bought it in the Czech Republic back then when I lived in Prague. And it originally was aimed for a crochet project with this color purple and black and another purple, but I kind of lost my inspiration for that. It was a free-handed project based on inspirational pictures, and I decided to frog it after my big organization frenzy, and it was so soft that I decided to give this a go. I don't like to knit with cotton. Usually it's too hard for my hand. I love to crochet with it because it has a really good hold, but I was like, okay, this is so soft, let's give it a chance. And I had 2 balls of it, and I know that 2 balls is exactly enough for me for the cropped version of the ginkgo biloba top. So I gave it a chance. The only thing I changed is the original pattern is a folded hem, and I did ribbing. Just need to pro to, I think it was 10 rounds, because it was better for my hands. I did not want the provisional cast on. I did not want to mess with the joining. I was just like, okay, let's go simple. And I put an extra repetition on the body because of my proportions, and I put 2 less. The original piece which I did 1 less repetition on the shoulder strap than I should have, and now I actually needed 2 less than according to the pattern, than what the pattern says. And it fits very well right now. I did not do the waist shaping, and it's so good to wear. It's so soft, it's so natural. I think when the next time we go to Prague, I need to buy this yarn more. It's a Czech yarn. It's called Himalaya. Maybe it's not Czech originally. I think so. I don't know. It's called Himalaya. It's in my project page. But this is so good that I want this yarn in like t-shirts and stuff like that. So that's for sure coming if we get to Prague this year. I started this December 27th because I was like, oh my god, I found a free pair of needles, and then I needed to cast on something, and I finished it January 28th, so exactly a month was to knit this. I worked on it most of the time, but not only. As you saw, I had some test knitting and other stuff, so it was a fairly fast knit, and I'm really glad that I did this. I have yarn, silk from Knitting for Olive. I have pure silk from them in blue, which I originally bought to do this again. So that's coming until the summer. Actually, I need to cast it on really soon because Marie, who is the designer of this top, is currently hosting the Greener Spring Call. I think that's the handle. I will put it up here. And she is organizing a knit along where we knit floral patterns, and I want to make one more of this top, and why not join the call if I'm already doing it. So that is coming. I'm just consulting my usual Space Cat notebook to not forget anything. All right, so these are all the finished objects from January. I did not include anything which I finished last year because I showed you everything in a previous video. I will link that as well. Let's move on to projects which I currently work on. So in the podcast, I show my work in progresses, my ongoing projects, but only those which I'm actively working on. So there are many projects which I have in a big box on the side, which I didn't get to yet, or I kind of lost my mojo with it, or like maybe it needs a big focus, or I'm missing some yarn, or something happened and they are just hibernating. So I only show here what I'm currently actively working on. One of them is a pair of socks for my partner. I previously knit a pair of socks for him, but my gauge changed in between the 2 socks. I don't know what I did. Probably I used the wrong needles and turned out too big, and I will need to frog that, but I did not have the heart to do it. And instead I had a lot of yarn left over from that, so I decided to just cast on another pair without frogging. I'm dropping everything. So this is how it looks. I am using the mold yarn for the cuff, and I will use it for the toe as well, and slip stitch heel flap, heel turn, and just a vanilla sock and plain gray. He loves black, he loves gray, so that's an obvious choice. Almost at the toe, I think I need like 1 centimeter more or 2 centimeter more, and then the toe comes. So I stopped a little bit because I would like to do the toe at once, so not stop in between rounds of the toe. So I will need like an evening for that. I think that could be done tomorrow or today even. We will see. This yarn was a sock kit from Lidl or Aldi, I don't know. I got it as a gift from my friend's mom. She originally bought it for my friends to knit socks, but she got never interested, so they gifted it to me, and I am using it as intended. So no idea like what's the yarn. It's like regular sock yarn with some nylon. And there were 2 bowls of this mold, and there were 2 bowls of the plain gray, and I used most of the molds in the first try, and now I'm using mostly the gray. And now this will fit perfectly. I actually made him try it on. I cast this on January 3rd after I finished the pink one, because I kind of had this sock moment, and I have more yarn caked up for future socks. I really enjoy now knitting socks when we are watching series or movies. It's just to occupy my hands, just to go in around. I always do 9-inch circulars, and I do the heel and the toe on Magic Loop. 2.5 millimeter needles. Yes. Where to put this? Another project which I am working on is also for him. And I started this in 2023. And you saw this project many times before. I will show it again because I actually make some progress. So this is the narrate shawl, and it's supposed to look like bat wings, dragon wings, with like scales and stuff. But as you can see, my gauge changed. I think it's because of the way I'm knitting now, because I relearned how to knit. A long story, I talked about it before. And I know he will love this project, and I fully intend to finish it in February, sort of as a finish it February project. But this is lace, and I love lace, but this is a 28 raw repeat. 28, not 2, not 4, not 8, 28. And I actually have a counter ring which I use to not get lost in a pattern, but I can only do this when I'm sitting down looking at the pattern and just focusing on this. Sometimes there may be some YouTube video in the background or like an audiobook, but not always, because I need to focus. So yeah, this goes very slow, and I am over the half, so I'm on the decrease section. If I would sit down every day and do 1 section every day, I would be done in like 10 days. But yeah, it's a little bit like dragging, you know. I really want to get this done and gift it to him, and I like, so he has a chance to wear it when it's still cold. So yeah, this I started in 2023, October 20th, and it's still not done. The yarn is Lana Grossa, both the black and the gray, like color changing one. It's on the project page, you can check it out. And I bought everything, including the bag, in Budapest, in the 1001 Fonal yarn shop. But to get on happier places, I mentioned that I used the leftover of the sock in a sock memory blanket, and although I did not work on it a lot, I did work on it a little bit. So this is my sock memory blanket, which is the pattern is the jelly roll blanket, and I use, do I want to do this? Yeah, I use the leftovers from previously knitted socks. You get the idea, in the stripes. So even when I gift socks, I have some, memory keeper something that, hey, I need this many socks. And I have actually many leftovers now. Currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors to add to it, but it's 2.5 millimeter needles, and I do not enjoy the joining, so I'm actually thinking of just knitting the strips and then sewing them together, which, yeah, it won't make sense because I just bought the pattern because of that. But yeah, so I'm seriously considering finishing this strap with joining and then just knitting the straps by themselves and then later hand sewing them together. I think that would be actually much smoother for me. I do not enjoy the joining process. Yeah. I forgot to write down when did I start it, but probably after my first sock, which was in 2021. I think I started this in 2022. Yeah. And if we are talking about socks, maybe I will change the order a little bit. I think I showed this before. This is a leg warmer, but it's out of sock yarn. This is a Christmas sock yarn, but I like to go to the gym with my gym clothes already on, and my running pants are usually like thin, so this is really good when I want to stay warm until I get there or I get home. So I just cast on a vanilla sock, basically on 3.5 millimeter needles. This is a 6-ply sock yarn, so kind of like sport weight, and I just kept going like you would knit an endless leg, and I will go until the desired length or until I reach half of the bowl, do another cuff, and then finish. And this is just my lazy stockinette project whenever I need a little bit of, portable sock knitting thing without a heel. 2 projects left. One of them is another Musselburgh hat in this lovely pink. It's been long in my plans to knit a hot pink Musselburgh hat, and I finished knitting my Stockholm slipover with similar colors, and there was a lot of mohair left over. From the fingering weight yarn, there was not much left, so it wouldn't be enough for one Musselburgh hat. So I decided to buy a different yarn as a fingering yarn and hold the mohair with it. So the yarn is Lamy Yarns from the Netherlands, new running, and this is this like strawberry pink, kind of. And I'm holding it together with Filcolanatilia, and I think the color is hibiscus. Whoa. But it will be on the project page. And I just cast it on and I just go in the round. I reach the pure stockinette part, which is my favorite. And when I started this, I posted about it on Instagram. I'm always active on Instagram. Oh yeah, I forgot to add any of this. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's Wip Wonderland as well, and on Ravelry, also Wip Wonderland. Come say hi. And if you wanna stay up to date on what I'm making, then Instagram is the place, because I'm active on it like daily. And I posted about this on my stories, and Michaela wrote me like, oh hey, I want to knit a Musselburgh hat as well, maybe we could knit it together. So we decided to do like sort of a buddy knit when you knit together, and then we were like, maybe we could make a knit along. So we created a knit along. So the spring Musselburgh knit along is ongoing. There was no starting date because it just organically organized itself. We have a group chat on Instagram and a hashtag. I will actually put up a post about it today when I'm filming this. And you're also welcome to join. It's just basically a chat to support each other. There are a few people who are knitting this the first time, so we are giving tips, tricks, whatever, and we are just sharing our progress. It's super chill. We are thinking of going with it until like end of March or so, until basically it makes sense to knit a hat. And it's just a friendly buddy knit along thingy. So if you want, join us. we will be really happy to take you on board. Yes, I started this on January 29 because I really need a hat which actually fits really well, and B, I wanted to use up the yarn because another thing I'm trying to do this year is to use up most of my stash. And C, I applied to test knitting, which will be the next project I will show, and I was waiting for an answer, but I was, you know, a bit stressed, and I was like, I need to knit on something which is familiar. Yes, so I cast this on stylishly. It's in a big project bag, of course. And the test knit I applied for, and I actually got in, is the Knit Pearl Repeat Sweater from Marie, Greener Makes. Again, I love to test knit for her. This is my second time test knitting for her, and it's still amazing, still great. I like to work with her, sort of. And her patterns are just so like creative. They are not the usual things which you see with big designers. So yeah, I'm always happy to try things. And she just announced another test knit call, which I'm not able to join because I'm working on this sweater and I don't want to, you know, fragment my focus too much. But that will be also color work, and this sweater will be color work as well. And thanks to the test knit, I actually got a discount on the yarn. I bought the recommended yarn, which is BC Garn Semilla Melange. And my main color is this blue, like king blue, basically. We call it king blue in Hungarian. Don't know in English. And this one is, I think, called Vanilla. It's sort of a creamy color. And this will be the accent color. And I will put up a picture of the design. I saw it and I absolutely needed it. Like, I did not have the yarn. I did not think I should apply to a test knit. I have a lot of like work projects which I'm trying to do this year, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. But I just saw it and I just needed this. And yeah, my partner also knew, like, yeah, this is nerdy enough that it's kind of approved, you know. It's like, okay, I will support this. So yes, I swatched. I actually cannot use the recommended needles. I needed to size down because I'm such a loose knitter. So I'm doing on one size smaller, and I already made one of the, it starts with the shoulders, and I did one of them and I'm working on the second one. So not much progress to show, but I'm so excited. I cast it on actually yesterday. Yes, February 2nd. I cast it on yesterday, which, you know, it's the January episode. It doesn't really qualify as January, but I wanted to show it anyway because I'm just way too excited. So that's what we go with. Yeah, it's a nice test knit. The timeline is absolutely doable. It's 10 weeks, but Marie is always flexible. So if you are getting into trouble, you can just write her and she helps. Yes, those are all my projects, and I wanted to show something else which is kind of new, and it needs to be done in February, March or so. So I'm getting married this year, and also my brother is getting married this year, and we are invited, my fiance and I are invited to my brother's wedding, obviously. And I was thinking that I would really want to make them something special, like something handmade which I can gift them. And so I saw this kit for cross stitch, and it's actually customizable. So you have a bunch of patterns which you can choose from, and you have the hoop, the needle, the threads, and the textile, everything in it. And I want to make sort of a wedding portrait with their names and their wedding date. And the City Hall wedding they already had last year, and I was there. And they will have the big party and the church wedding this year. And I want to embroider both of the wedding dates here. And I want to add their cat here. And they had another cat which passed away before last year. and I also want to add him as an angel. So that is the plan. The wedding is in May, so I really need to get my stuff together and do this. I haven't done cross stitch since I was in elementary school, which has been long ago. So we will see how I manage, but that's the plan. And for them, I want to do this cross stitch thing, and for us, as like a wedding memory sort of, I also want to make an embroidery. I have like an inspiration, like a base design, but I want to partly change it, so I cannot show it to you yet. But that will be sort of free-handed by me, which is also exciting because I'm still a beginner in embroidery, but weddings inspired me, so that will be on the podcast later when I'm progressing with it. Yeah, if you have any like resources or like tips, tricks for cross stitching, or where could I have like find a little cat pattern to add, which I could potentially customize regarding of color or like stripes or things like that, then please let me know. Please give me in the comments some directions, because I want this to go well, but I'm not that experienced, so it's a big take on for me. That's all I have for today. It turned out to be shorter than usual, but I'm really glad that finally I could sit down. I actually filmed a video for my 2025 plans, but the lights were so terrible that I need to refilm it. So that will come later in the month. I hope you will enjoy that as well. Again, you can find me on Instagram, on Ravelry. Please say hi. And if you like this episode, if you like the content on my channel, please give it a like, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, take care.